Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so if that's the case, I will just start the
So
recording.
now, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening from this side.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah. So, I will start with introduction. So, sorry for the delay. So, it was my network. I think I'm like a minute late. So, I'm sorry for that. So, I would want us to start with brief introduction of ourselves. So, I'll start from myself. My name is Engineer Kimbulo Ayobami. So I work with Lagos Waste Management Authority. Presently I'm the head of recycling unit. Recycling unit is under circular economic department in Loma. So I want us to introduce ourselves one after the other. Can we see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So let's introduce ourselves. Thank you. Oh yeah, let's start. Let's introduce ourselves. I'll start from Mr. Tolulope. Kindly introduce yourself, sir. Unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
All right, so I'm Tolakami. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Tolakami Victor Lori, a student of UNLAG.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
The next person.
Good evening, all. My name is Chidi Nwachukwu. I am a waste speaker under as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Waste speaker. No waste
Yeah.
speaker.
No recycling.
I see that. No recycling. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, the next person. How many people do we have on this call?
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, ma.
All right. Good evening, Engineer Yobami. My name is Adrian
Yeah.
Modofia. I'm the founder of plasticsolutions.ng and I'm a member
Yeah.
of
Okay.
LAGRA.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, a member of Lagra. Yeah, plastic recycle. Okay. Good evening. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, sir.
So now we are starting today's class. Uh, Based on our topic today, we'll be treating recycling. I know all of us on this call, we know what recycling is. Recycling. So what's but before we talk about recycling, something prompted recycling. Now, for us to recycle, it means there is a problem, which we must find a solution. A solution. Now, what is recycling? Recycling is a way of repurposing our waste. Is a way whereby we repurpose our waste. Is a way whereby we repurpose our waste. So now, when you the objective of this class, participants will be acquainted with the concept of recycling, the value chain, the types of recyclables, and their management. I believe the people from plastic recycle, from Mr. Ilori, and from the top person, I believe will have heard about recycling and know what we mean by recycling. Discuss. Can we see my screen?
We can't now. I can't.
Okay, yeah, I can now. I can see your screen.
Ah, recycling and challenges. So benefits of recycling and challenges. So let's start with recycling. But I said something the other time that when you talk about recycling, it means there is a problem and you want to solve the problem. So to now solve the problem, you need to find a way to solve the environmental problem. If you look at the story of Loma, Loma was born out of problem in 1977 when Nigeria hosted Festac 77. So whenever there is a problem, there will always be what? Solution. There is a problem of waste. Then we now want to solve that problem. That's when people in the past thought about how we can actually recycle. The researchers thought about recycling. Now, but before we talk about that recycling, what is waste itself? This waste that puts everybody in problem. Now, what is waste itself? Now, we can say waste puts people in problem, but to some people, waste did not put them in problem. Waste puts them in wealth. Now, waste can be seen as a resource. Waste is an unwanted material to some people, and waste can be seen as a resource to some people. Waste can be seen as a resource to some people. Now, from this, new opportunities can come from waste. From waste, you can get new materials, you can get raw material for some companies. But some people did not see waste as that. They see waste as unwanted material that is not useful to them again. They see waste as unwanted material that is not useful to them. They see waste as material that has served its primary purpose, that have served its original purpose. But waste is seen by some people as something valuable, If you from my screen, you can see the definition there that new opportunities have emerged as waste. New opportunity has emerged as what? Is an opportunity, but it emerged as what? As waste. It emerged as waste. Now, when you now talk about waste, for the waste to emerge as a resource, to emerge as wealth, for the waste to emerge as opportunities, it means there is something that is done with that we do with the waste. That's where we can now talk about recycling. And also you can say waste is a material that has served its initial purpose. That is waste as well. Waste can be defined as a material that has served its initial purpose. So if it has served its initial purpose, it means it's not useful to the owner. But another secondary owner picks up the waste and apply what is called recycling. Can we see my screen? From my screen, you can see that what is recycling? Recycling is defined. Yeah, recycling is defined as what is the top component of the reduce, reuse, and recycle. There is something called waste management hierarchy. Inside in waste management hierarchy, the waste management hierarchy tells us about the step by step of the way we should manage our waste. It starts from prevention, reduction. Now, when you prevent, you cannot prevent forever. No matter how you try to prevent waste from being generated, you will actually generate that waste. But it can be, when you prevent, it can now be minimal. That's what you can now call, okay, you are trying to reduce your waste. Now, when you reduce it, anyone you now generate the waste. There's another R that is called recovery, but we are not doing that today. From the definition here, now recycling is the top component of that three R's or four R's in waste management hierarchy. Recycling is the conversion of waste material into new materials products. It's the way of repurposing your waste from a material that is not useful to a material that is useful. Waste gives used material purpose and new life. That's it. A material that is dead, that is not useful again, you know, the sorry, I'm coming. I want to on my camera so that you can see me as well. Um, so sorry, allow. So now, waste, when you recycle waste, when you call it waste, is a something that is dead, is a material that is dead, and you want to give it a new life. When you give it a new life, it can be used for something better. Another one is waste reduces dependency on natural resources. It reduces dependency on natural resources. Reduces dependency on natural resources. Now let's look at the next slide. Another benefit of recycling reduces dependency on natural resources. Another thing is recycling, it also creates jobs. Recycling, it saves time. Recycling saves energy. It saves time, it saves energy. And I've said it gives used material purpose and a new life. Recycling, and the definition for recycling, you can, in a layman's language, you can say is a way of converting material that is not useful to the original owner to something that is useful. Do you get my point? Now, the next slide, the next slide, the next slide is still talking about recycling. Recycling can also be defined as economic tools. It can also be defined as environmental tools. Now, I will throw this question to everyone. When we say recycling, I want us to try. When we say recycling is an economic development tool as well as an environmental tool, what do we mean? I don't just want to be talking. I want us to answer. Thank you. I'm listening. I want us to contribute to what do we mean when we say recycling is an economic development tool or is an environmental tool? Mr. Ilori, Mrs. Chidi, then we have Mr. Olanrewaju Olaitan here. Now Mrs. Juliana.
Um, Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Hello. Okay. To my own explanation or my own
Yeah,
understanding, it is an economic value. How did you put it? It adds to the value of the economy because through waste, some people are creating wealth. If
yeah. Through waste, some people are
some
creating
people
what?
are creating wealth, so it's
Wealth.
adding value to. the economic growth. Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry, I
Hello.
didn't even get the question. Do you mind repeating the question, please?
Try again. Do you have another person try? You
Okay,
tried
Do
good
now.
you mind
Thank
afternoon.
you
repeating the
so much.
question, please?
Yeah, good
Yeah, good
afternoon.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, when we say that recycling is an economic tool, remember you started with saying that something that ought to have been regarded as waste is being repurposed and used for something else. So you used to manufacture something that can bring value, that can be bought, and give some kind of economic value, right? In terms of generation of revenue. When you say that it is an environmental development tool, you are saying is a tool that is used to reduce the amount of materials that go to the dump sites, the amount of materials that goes to the landfill, and the amount of waste that we have in the environment. Thank you.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's I like that. I like that contribution. Both of you tried. Thank you so much. Now, based on what they said, they were both right. Now, when we say recycling is an economic development tool as well as an environmental tool, recycling can boost economy. As we speak in Lagos, we have a lot of families that what they feed on, eh, what brings food to their table is recycling. We have people making millions from recycling monthly. We have people that they are riding good cars because of recycling. We have people, so recycling is an economic development tool. Recycling shapes life. Recycling is another thing about recycling is that it provides jobs. Something that provides jobs. You know, something that in recycling different transaction. It has different level of transaction, different levels of transaction in recycling. And as based on what the last speaker said, that as an environmental tool, when you are doing recycling, you are getting this waste out of the environment, and in a nutshell you are trying to clean the environment. So it's an environmental tool as well as it is an economic development tool. It's also an environmental tool. It's also an environmental tools. So another one we have it there. Now, sorting and processing recyclables alone sustain more jobs than landfilling or incineration. We all know that landfilling and incineration is another, they are both other ways of managing our waste, but they are not ideal ways of managing waste. They are not ideal way of managing waste. They are not ideal way of managing waste. Another one is making new products from the old offers economic payoff. Now, when you make, for example, we have Polismart in Lagos State. What's the work of Polismart in Lagos State? Polismart convert PET bottle to hot washed flakes. The hot washed flakes will now further be processed into what is called food grade resin. Food grade resin will now be converted back to the new PET bottle. Now, see, you are getting new product from a material that is useless in a drainage. That is what recycling is telling you. And another thing about recycling that all of us must understand is recycling is cost competitive. It's cost competitive because it's very expensive. To start a recycling business is not a joke because there are two major things that are very important when you want as a startup. You need a space to aggregate your material, and you need a truck to move your material from one point to the other. So recycling is cost competitive. And as a driver of economic activities, recycling industry compares favorably to every industry. You know, as a driver of economic activity. Recycling industries are more favored compared to heavy industry facilities, because every industry facilities, they won't get anything like grants. We still have some part of recycling stakeholders that get grants, some benefits from people. Now, let's summarize recycling. Recycling is the conversion of waste materials into new useful material products. It gives materials an opportunity to remain in the value chain as useful products and reduces overdependence on raw materials. It is also one of the most effective ways to manage waste, prevent pollution, ensuring a cleaner and healthy environment. We said that before. And recycling involves a long chain of business commands with key players such as, you know, recycling is a value chain. Recycling is a value chain. It has a lot of stages. At different stages with different values. With different values. So, what are the objective of recycling? What are the objective of recycling? The first one here is recycling diverts waste from the landfill. Recycling diverts from the landfill. It diverts waste from the landfill. Another one is it encourage household segregation. Recycling encourage household segregation. Now, another thing is recycling, it redefines waste as resource. Recycling redefine waste as resource. Recycling redefine waste as resource, and it also creates jobs and employment. Can you hear me? It can. Sorry, give me 1 minute.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, recycling, it's redefine waste as resource. It creates jobs, job creation and employment. Job creation and employment. It creates jobs and employment. Now, let's look at this point. Diversion of waste from the landfill. When we say it's divert waste, this is it. In Lagos State, we have an arrangement such that before, not now, it has changed. We have an arrangement such that it has improved, not that it has changed for something that is not good. It has improved than what it used to be. Before, we do have PSP operators that go from one house to the other, collect their waste, commingle their waste, and take it to the dump site, to the landfill. But presently, we now have some recyclers, some individuals as recyclable collectors. As PSP collects their own general waste, even the household, they now have the number of recyclers calling them to come and pick up bottles, plastic, glass, nylon, carton. You can see by the time they collect it, the recycler collects it, they take it to their own facility where these materials will be further processed into useful materials. But if PSP collect it, they take it to the landfill. So that's what recycling, that's the objective of recycling. Recycling helps to divert waste from the landfill. Another one is recycling encourage household segregation of waste using prescribed receptacles. You know, it's recycling creates that culture in people. Now, people from different households now sort their waste from homes. Firstly, some people are doing it because of the benefits of the environment. Some people are doing it because of money, so that they can get money for it. But for government, our goal is what? Cleaner environment, and for people to get value for their waste. Another one that from that I'll go to it redefines waste as resource. It repositions waste as resource. Recycling reposition waste as resource. If a family can in an estate can move around their estate with their e-locks and collect PET bottle around the estate, give it to a recycler every week for 3 months, then they collect the money, they use it to buy food in their house so that they can eat. You can see that recycling is waste is not waste. Recycling helps to define waste as what? Resource. It helps to reposition waste as resource. And another thing about recycling is recycling creates jobs and empowerment. It creates jobs for people and it helps to empower people. It creates jobs for people and it helps to empower people. Now, how do we achieve that? It creates jobs because, for example, I said something the other time that recycling is a value chain. We have collectors on it, we have preprocessor on it, we have processor on it. A collector alone depends on the size of the collector. At least you can have minimum of 10 staffs, minimum of 10 staffs as a collector, because when you're as a collector you need to have a baling machine. Your baling machine, at least 2 people will be operating baling machine. You have a lot of sorters delabeling your plastic, separating the commingled recyclables. Do you get my point? So it creates jobs and it empowers people. It empowers people by giving them value for their wastes, by giving them value for their waste. So another thing I want to talk about recycling is, in recycling you can categorize people that are doing recycling into 2 categories of people: the formal and the informal sector. Now, what do we mean by formal sector? Formal sector are sectors that they have company name, they are registered, they are properly regulated, and they even pay their taxes, they obey laws. But the informal sector, they also obey laws, but they have all these things. They some people even call them miscreants, but they are not miscreants. Even in Loma, we have given them a new name. They are we do call them scavengers, the informal sector. But we are not calling them scavengers again. They are urban miner of our time, which means the community. So the formal sector are the organized sector of the recycling, and the informal sector, we can say unorganized sector. They are organized. We can't say they are unorganized. They are organized, just that they are not registered, and at times they do some things that they like. They see the, what's it called? See the picture on my screen. You see the waste speaker there. But presently, Lagos State has repositioned the informal sector in Lagos State, whereby we've started their registration and we've started their formalization, and most of them now, they are eager to be formalized because they also want to protect the business, because they want to protect, they want to obey the rule of laws. They are eager to listen, they are eager to obey. So we have commenced that process and is ongoing. So and one thing about recycling is, you can't do recycling without informal sector. They are very important in the value chain. Because in recycling, I said, is a value chain. It starts with, after the waste has been sorted from homes. If waste is sorted and nobody is coming to collect, what happened to the waste? We said it should not end up in on the landfill, which is someone should collect. And informal sector, they are the one in this space. They are very, like, almost 50% of them or 60% of them in that space of collection. They are very rugged. They go from one place. See the guy. You can see that they are very rugged from that picture. See, he didn't wear any clothes. The other one on only singlet. They are very rugged. They did not mind. They enter drainages. They fetch um they go to this thing, what's it called, they go to rivers. Even there was a time when there was scarcity of PET bottles. Do you know that the informal sector went as far as the Majidun? There is one river in Majidun along Ikorodu Road in Lagos State. Some PET bottles were in that river. Do you know that they put nets inside it, and they were as if they want they fetching something from the river. Do you get my point? So one thing is they are very rugged. They go to the extreme lengths to get whatever they need, but we need to formalize them. The former also, they have the energy to do the work, but we should not lie, the informal sector are very important, and government have realized that. So we are formalizing their operation. We are formalizing their operation. Another one you can see from this site, the formal and the informal. You can see from this picture here on my right hand side, we can see that those materials are packed, and this is a formal arrangement. You can see the place well organized, well arranged. You can see the scale down there to get the material. So let's go to the next slide. How many slides do I have? Okay. Yeah. So I'm on slide 12 now. So let's see the value chain in recycling. The value chain in recycling. Even to this value chain, I will add another one because they are also important. Without them, you can't be talking about recycling. They are important. They are the most important. The people that generate the waste. The people that generate the waste. The people from homes that picks up the material and say, ah, this material is useful. Such people, they are the one that gives a collector. Who is the first contact on this value chain I'm seeing on my screen? Hello, are we there? Hope I'm not talking to myself.
We are here. We are with you.
Yeah. Now, the we have the value chain. The first one is collectors, but me, I'm giving the people that generate the waste as the first contact in this value chain, because they are the one that will generate this material. They are the one that will sort it from home. After sorting it, they give a collector, like the people I mentioned within an estate that collect less than 1 ton in a week or in a month. There are those that will now say, oh yeah, collector, come and carry. Then from collector, it goes to an aggregator. The aggregator, the aggregator received the recyclables collected and recovered by the collectors and deliver it to a pre-processing company. Now, what's different between a collector and an aggregator is just the volume and some little equipment that an aggregator will have to add values to those material before he or she now supply to a pre-processing company. Don't forget, I started from the people that generate the waste. Sort it in one estate. A collector can be in a small community or in a street, collect the recyclables, and not an aggregator that will now collect. An aggregator now will collect from. The aggregator also as well can now bail it, sort it, with that, he or she have added value, can now supply ties or grind the material, add value to it before they now supply a pre-processing company who is called pre-processor. Pre-processor converts recyclable materials into new products. So all these value chain I've mentioned, all the players, all the stakeholders, they are very important. Don't forget, I mentioned the informal sector. Like the informal sector now, some of them are aggregator, while some of them are collectors. The informal sector. Some of them are aggregator and some of them are collector. So let's see Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you.
So let's see the this value chain as it starts. You can see the cycle as it goes, that from household, the commercial facilities, from industries that uses this material, it goes to a collector. From a collector, it goes to an aggregator. From an aggregator, it goes to a processor who process. Then from a processor, it goes to a manufacturing company. Like the PET bottle that I mentioned, you know, the PET bottle now, from the PET bottle now, it goes, the PET bottle from the hot wash flakes, it goes to food grade resin. From food grade resin, it goes to a manufacturing company that will use it to bottle the Coke we take, the Pepsi we take, the Cascade water we take. They will now blow the food grade resin back into the shape of the bottle, then sell it back to household commercial facility. And this chart also explain what is meant by circular economy. You can see that it revolves round. Everybody in this cycle sees waste as what? As resource. Not that the waste is going to the landfill. Can we see landfill on this chart? No. We cannot see anything like landfill. Now let's pick each of the value chain one after the other. The first one I can see here is a collector. Now this is an estate, and is an estate we all know. This is Magodo Estate, where the PSP within the estate keyed into recycling program. You can see the blue bin for separating their waste from homes. Then you can see that the tricycle um was carrying PET bottle, can, and some other material. So that's to tell you that waste is not waste. Waste is a resource. Now let's see an aggregator. You can see a collector from this. I said within an estate, it's just at that small space, collecting and give an aggregator. An aggregator can have over 20 collectors supplying them. You can see from this picture, this is a facility where a recycler gathers all the material. You can see some material that are on the floor without being built. Then you can see some materials on your left hand side. Those materials are what? Properly built. So, and you can see from that material that built material that it has been sorted. You can see all these people standing. They are all employed. Sorters are there. They get their salary. So that's why we said recycling creates jobs. It's a way of repositioning waste as what? As resource. Some people from outside, people that threw all this plastic away, saw it as what? As a problem to them. And another person saw it as, I will embrace you. I will embrace you. Come. That's another thing about the value chain is the pre-processing. The preprocessor add value to recyclable materials before selling it to an off-takers. Before selling it to an off-taker for processing into finished products. Preprocessors focus on a single recyclable materials due to the capital intensity of investment. So preprocessor add value. Don't forget, this thing started from household that generates this waste. They separate it, they give it to a collector who now give it to an aggregator. Aggregator needs to get that volume, aggregate it. The word aggregator is from aggregate. You know, aggregate it. After aggregating it, now sell it to a preprocessor who will now add further value to it. Different material with their values. For example, as a preprocessor, I could decide to collect an aluminum can and smelt it into what is called aluminum ingot. I'm a preprocessor like that. Aluminum ingot is another product which is used to produce aluminum pots, aluminum roofing sheets. Even is used in so because some cars now are made of aluminum. Some cars engine are made of aluminum. For example, like Honda, the engine is made of aluminum. So now if I'm a processor and I smelt aluminum can into aluminum ingot, I'm a preprocessor, I'm not a processor. If I now a processor will now buy the ingot. What's the meaning of ingot? Aluminum ingot means a block of aluminum. Just melt it into a block of aluminum. The block of aluminum now can now be processed into different products of aluminum. The same thing applies to iron smelting company. Do you know that before, iron smelting company in Nigeria normally import what is called iron billet. Billet is like block of iron. Import it into Nigeria and twist it into iron rod that they use in bridges, in deckings and all those things in road construction. But when they now realize that we have some metals to import now, you pay custom duty, they look inward and they source for all this material inward, whereby they get scrap metals, get to their company, put it in the furnace, subject it to a temperature of greater than 1005 degrees Celsius, and you know, when they smelt iron like this, it turns to liquid before it solidifies again. Actually, it solidifies at a very when you are not eating again, it's the difference is very minimal. It solidifies quickly. So it solidifies quickly back into billet, depends on whatever they want to turn it to. Then the billet, instead of bringing it to the country, they now twist it into the iron rod. That's preprocessor. All those milk thing, peak milk, 3 gram, the Titus thing from home, you know, the people from home sort it, a collector come to collect it, an aggregator collect a lot of it and carry it to a company or a preprocessor. An aggregator can either supply a preprocessor or supply a processing company directly. Now let's see this picture as well. A processor converts recyclable waste into new products. Now you can see this waste nylon. All this waste nylon was produced from pure water sachet. Pure water sachet, after taking pure water from home, most people at home take pure water. After finishing the pure water inside, what do we do to the sachet? We drop it in the waste bin. PSP come. No, we should put our pure water sachet, anything like that, put it in a separate nylon, and you see people coming to collect it. A collector comes to collect it, give it to an aggregator. Aggregator will take it, aggregate more, give it to a preprocessor. Preprocessor will now convert the pure water sachet, grind it, turn it to pellets, then sell the pellets to people that will use it to make shoe soles or to make nylon like this. Now let's see waste to resources operation. We have different waste to resources operation, but because of my time, I will quickly rush through it. The first one is upcycling. What do we mean by upcycling? Upcycling is like making waste into crafts. Making some craft work out of waste. For example, you will have seen a tire they used to make horse before. You will have seen a tire they used to make table, chairs before. So upcycling is a way of making crafts, of transforming waste materials into high valuable materials. Now, upcycling are involved in the art of using materials that are no longer in use and giving it a second life and new function. Now, what do we mean by downcycling? Downcycling is when you have recycled material until it's low. Can you hear me? Until you you reduce the material. Are we there?
Yeah, we're with you.
Yes, yes, we are.
Yeah. Until it loses the quality and whatever. For example, have you, I don't know whether I'm the only one. I don't know the type of plastic Cascade is using. Have you taken Cascade water before? Have you seen their bottle? You can see that bottle very distinct. You know, downcycling simply means when you have recycled material to several times, and you know the quality of material is not there again. That is downcycling. Now, what is composting? Composting is the natural process of converting your organic waste, organic material. Like, what's organic material? Your food waste, that your vegetable waste, that your coconut that you couldn't finish, coconut yam, that's your fried rice that you couldn't finish. You know, by the time you put it in the dustbin, instead of putting it in the dustbin, it can be gathered and be used for something better. You can actually do compost from home yourself. It's a simple process. And what is compost? Compost is organic fertilizer which can be used in planting. Another one is waste to energy. Waste to energy, waste to energy. Waste to energy is a term that is used to describe various technologies that convert recyclable waste into usable forms of energy. I normally explain this waste to energy. Your waste, each material, everybody, each material, even as human being, we have our own energy. In biology, they will tell you when you eat, the food gets into your body and produces what is called energy in form of what? ATP, adenosine what? Triphosphate. Now, waste to energy means in every material on this planet there will always be energy, and the energy in it, you can now convert it from one form to the other according to the law of mass conservation. Now, that matter and energy can neither be what? Created nor destroyed, but it can be what? Transformed from one form to the other. So waste to energy, that energy in your waste, that energy in the rice, the energy in even the plastic bottle, that plastic bottle has its own energy content. That waste tire, as you are seeing it, has its own energy. What waste to energy is doing is converting that energy in it to another energy, using different processes. Now, let's quickly see the upcycling. You can see all these beautiful upcycling products, the tires and all those things. And another thing is you can see downcycling. Now, downcycling is, for example, quality writing material, photocopier paper. You can see, you know, I said downcycling is when you recycle material. Now, this quality recycling printing or writing material, it will be very strong. By that, it goes to photocopying paper, the one you use to make photocopy. It goes to the brown corrugated carton that you use to pack indomie and all those things. Then it goes to tissue paper or toilet rolls. What happens? The quality, but you can still, even as you are doing it, tissue paper is useful to everybody. It's useful to it doesn't mean you can't still use it. Even if tissue paper is as hard as the quality writing paper, you know, it's not good. You want to clean something with tissue paper and it's as hard as this writing paper, So let's look at composting. Composting, there are many benefits to reuse and recycle green waste. Green waste. Green waste is also your organic waste. You can also refer to it as food waste, or you refer to it as vegetable waste. Now, composting provides you with a valuable soil fertilizer. Now, when they say composting, composting is from the word compost. Now, composting is just that is the process. It's a way of converting your food waste into fertilizer, into organic fertilizer. And organic fertilizer is very useful that whatever you plant with organic fertilizer, even they are sweeter, because sweeter than the one you plant with chemical fertilizer. And another thing is they are very rich in nutrients as well. And another thing is they help the soil on which you plant. So another thing is about composting is it helps to reduce disposal costs of our waste. And one thing about organic waste, you can't keep them for long time. You can't keep them for long time. So let's see the waste to energy as well. There are many benefits. Waste to energy, I've explained it. For example, from this diagram, you can see the waste. You can see the recovery. Then from recovery, you can see heat is generated in the process, fuel is generated in the process, and power is generated. So that is waste to energy for you. It's converting of that energy in your waste to electrical energy. That's just waste to energy. Or if it's not electrical energy, you convert it to heat energy when you are using this to cook. Because you can actually produce what is called biogas and get methane. Methane can be used as cooking gas. Now, how does recycling create jobs? You can see all these people. See them. They are happy. They are happy with what they are doing. See PET bottle. All of them are sorters working with a company called Recyclers. That's their oga at the middle. The two ogas at the middle. They are very happy. You can see everybody was happy that day. I remember this day when we went for this program. Now, then the next one is let me quickly rush through this. So I'm left with like 2 or 3 slides. Now, collection and recycling waste collectors and informal sector. Now, one thing we are doing as Loma presently is to create like a synergy, handshake between a collector, informal sector also collector, and an aggregator, such that aggregator and informal sector can work together. Because collectors, they are the aggregators, they are formal. Fine, informal sector, they are not formal before, they are now, we are now in the process of formalizing their activities. So which means there can be handshake. And one thing is, if there is handshake, that's when we can get a lot of things. So in the process of collecting recyclables, the recycling, it's creates job for people, because the rider that drives the truck or the cargo tricycle to where they will collect the recyclables waste, they will always there will always be rider. As the owner of the company, you can't go. After collecting the waste and you bring it to the sorting up, some people will sort it, separate it. Then some people will be the one to bail it. Recycling creates jobs for everyone. and also as aggregator. Aggregator, and from collector to aggregator to preprocessor and to processor. As an aggregator, you have more machines than a collector. As a preprocessor, you have more machine. As a preprocessor, you have more machine. Oh, sorry, as a preprocessor, you have more machine than an aggregator. As a preprocessor, you have more machine than an aggregator. As an aggregator, as a processor, you have more machine than a preprocessor. You have more machine than a preprocessor. So one thing is, every value chain have their capacity, and one thing is, they all value chain, they create job, and they provide employment opportunity. They provide employment opportunities for people. They provide employment opportunity for people. They provide employment opportunity. So as an aggregator, so if you want to venture into recycling, you can enter as a collector, you can enter as a preprocessor. Now, let's see the benefit of recycling. Let's see the benefit of recycling. 1 minute, please. Okay. Sorry. The benefits of recycling. The right recycling, you know, it helps. It provides raw materials. And another thing is, because something that is not useful to one person can actually serve as a raw material for another person. Another thing about recycling is lower waste management costs. How do we achieve this? Do you know that if we all recycle our waste in Lagos, you have done the Lagos state government, let's say 80% favor? Because the money, if your waste goes to the landfill or dump site, the money they use to manage that waste is not a small money. You need to get bulldozer, because by the time the trucks dump waste at the dump site, you need to get bulldozer that will push it. You need to get another machine that will compact it. You need to now get lacterite to cover it, because we call something auto ignition at the dump site. So if you do not cover it and you leave it like that, you just see fire. So the money to do all these things, is like a burden. But one thing, government is not seeing it as burden. But by the time you sort your waste, and recycling is more embraced in Lagos State or anywhere in the world, it reduces the burden on the government, and it makes us to have cleaner and greener environment. Do you know that as the waste goes to the dump site, it degrades, because your biodegradable waste will be there, everything will be there, it degrades. So it produces what is called methane gas. Methane gas and carbon dioxide, which are greenhouse gases. It causes ozone layer depletion. Ozone layer is up there. But by the time it depletes, it affects the heat, the rate at which it comes, the sunlight that comes to the earth. That's the layman's language description. And also, recycling helps to reduce pollution. And another thing is, you get cheaper end products when you recycle, because you are not getting virgin material. The time you spent, the energy you spent, and all those things. So which means your product as well, you get something better. Do you know that if all the plastic we are using, If they are producing it from virgin material, do you think it will be so cheap the way we are getting it? It will be so cheap. Like if they produce that takeaway pack from, I'm not talking about styrofoam, I'm talking about polypropylene takeaway. Now, if they produce it from virgin material, it will be very expensive than that amount. Now, reduction of waste to a minimum volume. And another one is energy saving. I've talked about that. The job creation, I've explained that. Access to cheaper production material, the raw material, instead of you to import virgin plastic raw material from polymer from abroad, the custom duty, you source for the material. I've explained the billet, that the smelting company, they no longer look for the billet from abroad. They get the billet here. How do they produce their own billet? By smelting the scrap iron into that block. Billet is just block of your iron that they will now twist to iron rod. And another one is environmental protection. It protects our environment. Then the last point here is challenges. What are the challenges of recycling? First thing I will say here is the attitude of people to recycling, the mindset of people to recycle. Some people will say, if not now that the PET bottle is now selling for over 200 naira, or between 150 to 200 from household level, because in company is selling for 250 to 300. But before, even till now, some people, their attitude towards this thing is not. And because the economy has changed, people are looking inward. Where can I get money? That's why some people are doing recycling now. But some people are still not seeing it as, let me do it. Even if I don't need the money, let me do it for the sake of the environment. The attitude, that lackadaisical attitude, that nonchalant attitude, that what's my concern? They like, they should do it. They like, they should not do it. So it's one of the challenge. Another one is legislation, laws and policies. The government laws and policies. Now, do the this law presently we are using in Lagos State, does it permit people, does it enforce people to do this? Laws also, if the law is too, it's too soft, people, they take the advantage of it. People take advantage of it. Another one is recycling is capital intensive, and also the law and policy. Even if we make that law and policy, do we implement it? Implementation is also key. Another one is capital intensive challenges. Recycling, I've explained that, very capital intensive. And another one is power. Power. We all know that. Power issue. Another one is greater than 90% of recyclable waste are still landfill. That's because of our attitude. That's because even we have a lot of recycler. Presently, we have a lot of recyclers that are ready to take recyclables in Lagos State. But because people are not ready, they are not willing. There was a time I went to an estate along what's the name of this side? Forgot, around that is Solo. If you see the way these people, should I say they embarrassed me? Should I say their attitude towards it? I even climbed Okada to meet their meeting. But if you see the way they said, government want to come again and do this for us, we don't want to do Jare. Come, we'll get back to you, get back to you. That was what they said. And all these people, they traveled abroad. All these things, they know how to do it over there. They know how it is done over there. But the attitude, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. So in conclusion, all sectors across the value chains have potential to create jobs. Upskill, sorry, let me move this. Upskills and deploy new skills based on technological advancement. So all sectors, be it collector, aggregator, preprocessor, and processor, everyone will create jobs. So Every aspect of recycling creates jobs. That's why they call it environmental tools. That's why they call it environmental tools. Thank you so much. Thank you. So that will be the end of the class. So any question for me?
No question from my end. Thank you for the lecture, Mr. Engineer Yobame.
Yes, thank you, ma. Thank you. I don't know whether Sister Lizzie is on the call.
I am on the call, so I think we are waiting for people to ask question or comment, make their own comments.
Yes, ma.
Okay, please, if we have questions, let's ask our trainer, let's ask him questions. Or we have comments, if you have any contribution, it is welcome. Please let's also participate in the class. Okay, so if there are no questions or contributions, it means that it is clear. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me, please? Hello?
Yeah,
We
yes,
can
we
hear
can hear
you.
you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
hear you,
Yes.
ma.
Can
Okay,
hear you.
questions or contributions from anybody? Do we want us to clarify any part of the class? Questions, or do you have any experience you would like to share with us on recycling, how it creates jobs, and how it can help the economy?
Okay.
The lecture is clear.
So,
Okay, the lecture is clear. Thank you. Thank you to the facilitator, and thank you to everybody for creating time to be here
Thank you,
again
ma.
today. So we hope to see you at the next class, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So thank you, and we hope
You're
to see you at the
welcome. Thank you, ma.
yeah.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes,
Hello, we are here.
Hello. Yeah.
Mr.
Good evening.
Chidi, yeah.
We can
Yeah.
hear you.
I actually raised my hand. I raised my hand. Maybe you cannot
Oh,
see.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry. You can talk, sir. You can
Yeah.
talk.
So thank you very much, Mr. Abayomi. Thank you for the lecture. Thank you. Um, actually
Sir,
done well.
thank you, sir.
But there's this concern I have for the urban miners, right? Or which are called scavengers. There are many things that probably discourage people towards recycling. For one, some people could look at the aftermath of these activities. Probably the people you are exposing to collect this waste, doing this waste without, some kind of safety cautiousness, and you know, how many of us are where these people collect this waste, where they collect this waste from. There are places that no normal person would probably expose his or herself to. And this is where you have this bulk of waste to collect. And I've also been opportune to visit different, aggregators, dump sites.
The
You see
noise
people
is too
cooking
much.
without.
Okay, so I think
Hello, can you
Mr.
hear me
Chidi, you
now?
can.
Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can. The background noise was much. Okay.
So sorry,
I
so
think
sorry.
it's
I'm
better now.
so sorry. Yeah. So the
Noise is
question is
much. We
this.
can't really get what he's saying.
Oh, so sorry. Okay, okay. So sorry. I'm on transit.
No, you
Maybe.
can proceed, please. I think I don't worry, you can proceed. You can continue. You can continue
So the
your
question
contribution.
is, yeah, the question I want to ask is, what measures are in place to make this recycling more, attractive in terms of ensuring health and safety measures for the urban, miners, right? Are we making
Okay.
this
Is that the
sustainable
question?
that people, yeah, yes, that people can say
Okay, so let me
and proudly say that, hello,
I think I understand your question.
I,
So I understand
yes,
your
are we
question.
making it sustainable that people can proudly say that they are waste handlers because there are measures in place to be sure of their health and their safety? And we know that
Okay,
most of
so
these,
let me let
okay,
me
okay,
let
thank
me
you.
take that. I think I understand you. So first of all, if we are talking about sustainability, I want to tell you that that profession has been on probably before they even gave birth to any one of us. Because I remember growing up that I know these people that usually pick, especially those ones that use magnets. Even as a child, that use magnets to pick from the drains, from the road to pick metals and the rest. And then even in the northern part, they call them Mekwala base. The Mekwala base have been there, it's traditional. So it is what they do. And then back to your question, I think what you are asking now is the effort the government is now trying to put into the operations. Because we now looked at it as trying to dignify that profession. Like you said, their condition of working and all of that. But you also agree with me that majority of the people in that space, they have been I don't know what they have adjusted and then they've adapted to that system. It's even very difficult to take them out of that place and then try to upgrade them and put them in a confined area because that has become like a lifestyle. And that is what the government is trying to do, trying to integrate them, like the speaker said. That now what we are doing is trying to integrate the informal sector into the formal sector, try to upgrade and then upscale their mode of operation. And then oftentimes you see a lot of resistance from these people. Like I said, because it has become more like a lifestyle. This is what they do. This is what they are used to. Probably some of them were born into that profession and they picked it up. And these are people that will not literally not even go to schools. It is their own line of job. And then the government is now saying that this activity, the way this job is being done, we not it's not safe. We look at the environmental, the earth implication of that, try to make them okay, recognize, integrate them, formalize them, and then improve the mode of their work. So that is when you hear we are integration, informal sector integration. So that is what the integration is all about. And then again, this is also about presentation. So we now have to present it to them so it doesn't look like the government is coming to tax us, to collect money from us. The government is coming to, the natural reaction of people to government. So there are efforts to improve their working condition. I can tell you that. There are efforts we put in place to upgrade them. And then you know that our peculiarities, like I said, a lot of these people are still comfortable with what they do and they believe that it's a way that the government might want to, once the government understand what they do, they are trying to look at, they may want to request for this and that. So we have a lot of challenges in that line, but yes, it's in process. Otherwise, they prefer to continue the way they are doing their job. But because we need to standardize it and because of the health public health implication of that work, government need to come in and also put them into the formal system. I hope that answers the question. Mr. Shidi,
Yes. Yes, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. But I would also appreciate it if you can mention the some of the things in place or measures in place to be concerned about the health and safety of those people working in recycling centers. Some of these people they stand for hours, right, without breaks. Some of these people, they pick some of these things without safety equipment. So is there any sensitization that they will be able to know what they are meant to do, or they are just being paid because they are there to work? So that is one
Yeah,
of those things I was.
these are people that are making nobody is paying them to do that. These are people that are making, they are earning their living from
No,
what they
I
do.
mean, people working for the processors. No, I mean people working for the processors. There are people that workers that work at the processors company as well, and these people, they get some of these things as contracts, but they pay these people peanuts, and they don't even cater for their health and safety. So what are the measures in place? Some of these things are just because they see that this is an opportunity to give them work, and they give a blind eye to, or they turn a blind eye to how to make sure that these people are safe, and they make it dignified that they are working for a company.
I think if it is in a company, then, and I think you know that, yes, there are regulations, there are standard for operations, and then there are PPEs and that. So if there are organizations like that, and then I am sure if they have not been apprehended soon and very soon, once it is exposed, then the government will swift into action. And the recycling team too, they go on monitoring to this facility. Like you can see that most of the pictures in the presentation, they are actually activity-based pictures. They are pictures taken from sites, from recycling facilities. So we have this, they go there, there is periodic, even unannounced monitoring and check. And these are some of the things that they look out for. But I'm sure you will agree with me if you're a Nigerian, except if you just come into this country, that this is determining the salary scales or how they are being remunerated is beyond the scope of what we discuss here, because that does not only applies to that sector. I think that is a general issue, a social issue as far as Nigeria is concerned. So I want to believe that you have that understanding and that is beyond the scope of here. And then we all hope that, yes, generally or nationally, there will be an increase, and that will also trickle down to any other sector. Thank you. So do we have any other question or any other comment?
No question, no comments.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Chidi, for talking to us. And we want to thank everybody once again for your patience and for your time. And then we hope we have been able to impact you in one way or the other. So we hope to see you at the next class. A reminder will be sent to your platform. I hope everybody here is on the platform. There is a WhatsApp platform. I hope we are all on the
Yes,
platform. Okay, so thank you
yes,
very
we are.
much. See you in the next class. And then there is also a physical class. And please, we hope that you also create time to be in the class so that you don't miss out of any of these opportunities. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.